The iPhone XR and the Pixel 3 are two of the best single shooter smartphones you can get on the market right now. Both share a lot of similarities and differences with their larger siblings, the XS Max and the 3 XL, but these phones come in a smaller form factor and a lower price at or around that $800 price point. And yes, there are many differences between the iPhone XR and the Pixel 3, and if you guys are interested in an all versus video between these two phones, leave a comment down below and let us know, but for the purposes of this video, I'm sticking to one subject and one subject only, and that's all about the camera. These two phones have many differences when it comes to both hardware and software, but their camera systems are strikingly similar. They both feature 12 megapixel rear shooters with an f1.8 aperture, support HDR, and rely heavily on onboard software to do all of their image processing from photos all the way to portrait mode photos without any help from a secondary lens. So let me just start out by saying this. In most scenarios and in most environments, you're gonna get great looking photos from both of these phones. And in most cases, the photos they're gonna take are gonna look nearly identical. You're not really gonna notice a difference unless you're looking at a side-by-side comparison like this video. You're gonna get great looking photos from both of these phones. Though there are some differences here you're gonna wanna pay attention to. And we covered many of them when we compared the Pixel 3 to the iPhone XS, and those differences that we talked about in that video still pertain here as well. The Pixel tends to shoot cooler while the XR shoots warmer. The Pixel 3's photos have more contrast and shadows, while the XR attempts to brighten up all the darker parts of the image with smart HDR. And to my eye, the Pixel 3's photos seemed a little over-sharpened and a little over-processed in some instances when compared to the XR. Portrait mode is a big feature on both of these phones, and both the Pixel 3 and the XR are relying heavily on onboard software to do all of this processing and achieve this effect. There is no secondary lens to work with on either of these phones. The XR software processing is currently only optimized to work with faces, so there is no option to take a portrait photo of your food or your pet or anything else. The Pixel 3, on the other hand, doesn't have this limitation. You can take a portrait shot of just about anything. Both phones can sometimes struggle to accurately cut out your subject from the background, but generally, the effect is going to work pretty well on both of these phones, and the same differences in processing, the warmer and cooler tones, and the sharpness and all that stuff we mentioned earlier are going to apply here as well. Also, if you were admiring that carbon fiber skin on the XS Max, then you're definitely going to want to check out Dbrand. They got a bunch of different skins and a bunch of different ways you can customize your device and make it kind of stand out, add a little bit of your own flair, and make it look different. Kind of like adding a marble skin onto that blue iPhone XR. They offer customizable skins for a bunch of different phones and gadgets and different devices, and if you're kind of looking to change things up, turn your old phone new again, click that link down below to learn more and see all that they've got to offer. Another big difference between these two phones is the front-facing camera system. On the iPhone XR, you've got a 7 megapixel sensor, same as on the XS and XS Max, but on the Pixel 3, you've got that same setup as on the 3 XL, which is dual 8 megapixel sensors that's going to allow you to take standard and wide-angle selfies, and it's a little bit cooler than you may think. Even if you're just by yourself, that wide-angle selfie can kind of give your photo a unique and different look and kind of just changes things up a bit. Having the option to switch between these different focal lengths on the Pixel is very nice, and photos on these front-facing sensors are going to be processed in the same way as on the rear. So with the Pixel, it's either good or bad depending on how you look at it. To me, it's just a little bit over-sharpened, though that can be adjusted. Though it lacks that wider angle lens, the XR still takes great-looking selfies, and with the recent release of iOS 12.1, that heavy noise reduction turned skin smoothing seems to be a little bit more improved, a little bit more subdued, and not as bad as what we were saying before. Both the iPhone XR and Pixel 3 have their own slew of special software features, but I do want to mention two here that I think are really important, and that's Super Res Zoom and Night Sight. In this super zoomed in photo, both phones are doing a 100% digital zoom that doesn't look pretty on either of them, though the Pixel's Super Res Zoom feature attempts to kind of put the pieces back together in software and gets you a little bit more closer to your subject, and also gives you just a bit more detail than what you're going to find on the iPhone XR, though sometimes it can come off a little bit cartoony in a way. And the Pixel 3's Night Sight feature is also getting a ton of praise, and though it's not officially out, the photos we're seeing from its sideloaded APK look extremely impressive. And I think we all thought Google was kind of exaggerating a bit during their keynote, but if the final version of this feature looks anything like this, it's gonna be very impressive and a pretty big deal if you take a lot of low light photos. And before we wrap things up, here's a quick look at video on both phones. The iPhone XR has a slightly upper hand of being able to shoot 4K video at 60 frames per second versus 4K 30 from the Pixel 3. And both phones have stabilization. Both are gonna take really good looking video, though personally I prefer the iPhone's video over the Pixel just because I find the colors and the stabilization a bit better on the XR than on the Pixel 3. Alright, so in the end, there's no denying that both these phones are daily driver worthy. They have great camera systems that are powerful, versatile, and can take some pretty great looking shots. And the differences here really come down to software more than they do hardware. There is just a clear difference between how the iPhone and iOS process photos over how Pixel and Android does it, and what you prefer is gonna come down to how you prefer your photos to look. I said this in the last video, I personally prefer the way the Pixel processes photos over how the iPhone does it. I think the Pixel shoots great looking photos that I can share immediately and require little to no tweaking on my part, while the iPhone can take a great looking photo as well, but it just takes a bit more tweaking to get it looking just right. Alright, so now that you guys have seen the photo samples for yourself, which one do you choose and why? Do you like the way the iPhone XR handles photo processing? Do you like that super wide angle camera on the Pixel 3 and 3 XL? Which one would you choose and why? Leave a comment down below and let us know. And thumbs this video up if you like and want to see more videos like this. I am Robert Rosenfeld from Techno Buffalo. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.